to good evenings, the West Shore Photography Club's regular bi-weekly Monday evening meeting. Today is February the 2nd, 2026. The meeting is being recorded, and you're going to get a link to that tomorrow morning in the email that goes out. And this evening's program is image review. It's going to be conducted by Mike Donovan and the gentleman in the really nice suede sport coat there, all dressed up for us for tonight. But before we start, wanted to call on Jean to give us an update on the never ever changing trip schedules with snow and cold. And what was the last one? Was some kind of a machine or something's going in one
Yes.
room?
Unfortunately, our capital trip has been postponed and they're doing some moving of furniture and renovations and things like that that they were not anticipating. So I heard from our contact on Friday night and got that email out to all of you. But for right now, so far, we will be going to the State Library on Thursday, February 12th, and we'll meet there at 10 o'clock. So same time, same place. And then on Sunday, February 22nd, we'll be going down to the Suzanne H. Arnold Gallery, which is part of Lebanon Valley College at noon for a presentation and by Mike Donovan. He's going to be talking about the Secret Paris of the 1930s by the photographer, and I'm going to mess it up, and I've been practicing Marseille. Um, and so you'll see that, and then Mike will give a presentation as well. Right now, Joe and a couple others are on bird watch for Middle Creek, so we're hoping that that will take place sometime in February so Joe can go because I know that's one of Joe's favorite field trips to see the snow geese. And then, so that will be either in February or March, depending on when the snow geese get here. And then March 28th, which is a Saturday, Steve and Mark will be hosting us at Steamtown for locomotives. So that's what we have brewing
Great.
right now. Hopefully, it'll stay that way. I'm not
Okay.
sure.
Thanks, Gene, and thanks for keeping us updated on the happenings in terms of the cancellations and stuff. It's just the nature of the beast, and
It is.
we really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Before we get into the review tonight, I wanted to go over one thing for you, just a few minutes, and that is with this extra cold weather that we have, it creates a real problem when you're outside photographing with your camera and then coming into the house. And there's an issue of condensation, and there's a very easy solution for it. If you remember when you were kids, that if you had glasses and you went outside and you played in the snow and you came in and your glasses got all fogged up, well, that's what we're talking about. Except with the camera, you're dealing with a much more sophisticated and complicated product that condensation does damage and harm to it. So there is a solution. And one of the solutions is you take your camera and before you come into the house, you put it into a Ziploc bag like this outside, and then you seal it up and you bring it into the house and let it sit for maybe an hour to 2 hours. What that does is it takes the condensation and it is uh, on the bag and not inside your camera. And that's a very common procedure that people that do a lot of winter photography, like out in Yellowstone, or if you go into the Arctic area, you'll want to do that kind of a thing. And around here with our weather recently, it's close to that. So that's a tip that I just wanted to mention to you. And if anybody else has any ideas about that, if you could just speak up, it would be great. But okay.
But Joe, what do you do with your lens in that situation also?
Well, same thing with the lens. Now, if you have like a bazooka lens and you're going to be shooting birds, then you take a garbage bag, okay, and then one that you would use like those white ones you have in the kitchen, and you don't just take the ribbon, the strings and pull it shut. You want to actually tie it. You want to get a good seal. But the important thing is you do that out in the cold and then bring it in. Okay. You don't bring it in and then do it. Okay.
Joe, I've done it with my entire camera bag
You're okay in the camera, and that works
in
out
a
really.
big and then tie it up. Because I've had worse than condensation. I've had freezing.
Oh, what happened?
Yeah.
What do you mean it froze?
I was in Lake Placid years ago and it was 40 below zero and I went into a warming hut and didn't cover my camera.
Oh
And,
my
and I
God.
got instant ice all over the camera.
Oh my God. Did it hurt it?
Actually, no, it didn't.
Okay.
This was film days though. This was before digital, so
Okay.
but I was lucky and nothing happened.
Hmm. Anybody else have any snow stories for us? No? Okay. Mike, turn it over to you. Mike Donovan.
Okay, before um let me see here. I need to share a screen,
Oh,
correct?
I need, wait a minute, just a second. Thank you. I have to make you a co-host.
Okay.
You would think I would know that by now. You would think so. And you are Michael Donovan. And right here, more, make a co-host. Confirm. So now you can share your screen.
Okay. No, there.
Oh, perfect.
Can you see it
We
okay?
can see it looks really, really good.
Okay.
Yes. Okay.
Let me get this AI thing out of here. All right. Let me go to. All right. I'm going to leave it at that.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Before I start, Chris, can you take just a minute and for the people that were a little late, um, can you explain what it is you're going to be doing? Because it's a pretty impressive honor and people in the club should know.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Mike. I appreciate that. So for everyone who is not aware, I'm a photo instructor, specifically teaching on one photo raw. And so on one contacted me and they asked me if I wanted to be a part of their outdoor photography conference that's happening this month. Now, I'm a terrible spokesman because I don't have the dates readily available in front of me, but I promise you, if you are an on one user or even interested in on one, I think that conference will be a great resource for everyone. I'm personally teaching a session on retouching portraits that were shot in natural light using a subtle hand. So if that's something you're interested in, I'll be on the second day of the conference in the natural by design slot. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. Sorry for the surprise, but it's impressive.
Chris, what's on one?
That is a fantastic question. On One is an alternative to Lightroom. It is a photo editing application that is really designed to process raw images as well as give you a layer-based workflow similar to what you would receive in Photoshop. It's not a one-for-one swap to both of those programs, but in many cases, it is a very, very powerful alternative to Lightroom or Photoshop, depending on what you need for your photographic editing needs.
Okay, thanks, Chris. Okay, can everybody see the image?
We can, and it's
And can you hear
displaying.
me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you fine, and it's displaying very well.
Okay, good. The first image is, as you can see, called Kids in Norway. Now, what I've done is I've separated my remarks into a couple headings: technical, composition, tone or color, processing, intangibles, and suggestions. So that layout will be true for each of the 9 images that we have. Okay, technically, I have on my notes here that the exposure is absolutely beautiful. There's no burnouts, there are no blackouts, there's millions of shades of gray, unlike the movie. There's way more shades of gray in this, which is absolutely what makes black and white so beautiful. Um, it's a little bit of a creamy focus, not necessarily harsh or sharp, which in this case I think is good because this pulls me back to my childhood and probably, hopefully, you too. Um, the f-stop that you chose has the background just slightly soft, but yet it's environmental. You can tell that they're in front of the wall, there's plants, they're on a bench. You can see all that. So it's sort of an environmental portrait with more than one person. In the lighter areas, their pants, the book bag, there's detail. So as far as being a black and white image goes, the exposure and the focus, everything is beautiful. It's a you may not think it, but it is a triangular, and hopefully you can see my cursor.
We can see it fine, Mike.
Okay, it's a triangular composition, but there's also some other compositional things at work here. There's a rhythm to the heads. It's also called repeated shapes. The rhythm is repeated here. It's repeated here. There's shoes. It's absolutely beautiful composition wise. It makes it extremely cohesive, sorry. And then the curb and the line of mortar provide a kind of a border that zeroes you in on the kids even more. So composition wise, very strong. The tone, as I said, it's white, it's black, it's everything in between. You may have heard of the zone system, which I think is made up of 10 different values from dark black all the way to white white. This has hundreds of values in it, which makes it, well, I talk a lot about how lighter values advance to you and darker values fall away. You can see that perfectly in their knees compared to their jackets, which provides absolutely wonderful depth. Lots and lots of tonal values. Beautiful image. Processing is excellent. Now, on the screen, I hesitate to mention it because probably when you looked at it, it looked perfect. But there's a little bit of breakup around their mouths and in their faces. But I have a feeling that's simply from enlarging so much. And I have to mention it because it's there, but I don't think it's a problem if you print or whatever you end up doing with this. Intangibles. This is a piece of art that tells a story. And it's a story that is not completed yet because you and I probably have the same question. And that would be, what in the heck are they looking at? And when an image can lead you to a story, that you can finish yourself, that's pretty awesome. Um, the sandwiches play a role in telling you that they're probably, it's either after school or at lunch in school, maybe on the playground. The whole thing tells a story of childhood. Now, as far as my suggestions, the first thing that I would do is I would remove the snap from the kids right here. I would remove that, and I'll tell you why I would do that. And that's because when it comes to contrast, our eye goes to contrasting values. And this is a big contrast here from the dark to the light. So it naturally attracts. Now over here, same thing, but you'll notice this is lighter than this. So the contrast isn't as great. So your eye is drawn there. Try and darken the sandwich a little bit for the same reason. This little triangle here and here, I would darken those a little bit so that it's more cohesive, I guess I would say, as far as the tones go. Also, one other thing I might do is normally I'm saying to people, expand your crop, give them more room. I would pull this in just a touch so it's a perfect match for this. Because what that will really do is frame those kids and put you right into their story. So I would just pull this in a tiny bit. I would either darken it or get rid of it. Same with this little mark here and here, darken them or get rid of this one. This one might be a pain, but you can do it. A little bit of cleanup here. The image it's beautiful. It tells the story. I always say it's creamy and dreamy. It's wonderful. As far as your title, Kids in Norway, that's exactly what this is. And to me, titles can be a pain, but you have gobs of titles at your disposal when you're looking at this. Who did this? This is really great.
Mike, this is Joe Farrell. That's mine. And I appreciate very much your comments. And particularly on the right-hand side, I debated like crazy about bringing the crop in. And and I had to, and I'll be honest, there was another older man on the left side of that frame, and I removed part of him, just a little bit of it there. But thank you very much for your comments. I really appreciate it. I put that picture in because in a couple of weeks, I'm doing a presentation on photographing people around the world, and the whole thrust of it is photographing people as opposed to landscapes and buildings and that kind of stuff. And it's concentrating on people and how you can do that successfully and keep your sanity and your life without getting shot. So this is the reason why I put that in there, so I could get a free plug-in for my for my session coming up in a couple of weeks. Thank you very much, Mike. I really
You're
appreciate
very
it.
welcome.
And
I love
Mike,
how they're all leaned in. It's just so great.
Yeah.
Mike, can I make the Rich Car? Can I quick comment to you, Joe? I actually like this being off center a little, if you will. It makes me, as a viewer, feel like I'm standing out a distance to the right. It almost leaves me space there. I feel like I'm watching these kids. I think if it was tight, I'd feel kind of a little pressed, but I feel like I'm a spectator in it, just for what it's worth.
Thank you, Rich.
And I'm glad you said that because I forgot to mention how what a judge says is simply suggesting, and it's totally subjective. It's art. So thanks, Richard. You're exactly right. Okay, technically, this is called spiral. Technically, sharp, crystal sharp all the way through. The exposure is quite good. The horizon line is a teeny bit tilted or distorted just the tiniest bit. And I'll mention what to do about that later. There are details where it's needed. Um, I haven't made a decision yet on the moon, exactly what I want to do or say about that. Whether the interest is there because it's pinkish, and sometimes it is pinkish, and whoever took it, you can fill me in on that a little later. Composition wise, perfect use. I know the law of thirds or the suggestion of thirds is kind of cliche by now, but it exists for a reason in that it's pleasing to the eye. And you can see that this is the case here. Even the moon is on a third to the right. The two-thirds, one-third with the water and the sky is excellent. Composition-wise, the layers are providing depth. I like the curves playing against the angles of the ice. The repeated shapes are all over the ice in the front for sure. Um, the moon echoes the swirl, which I think is pretty cool. And and another thing about when someone judges your work and sees things that you think, well, I didn't even, that's not what I meant, or that's what, another set of eyes sees it without any history. So they can come in fresh. And that's why even if you didn't think the moon echoes the swirl, I think that's a very cool compositional tool there that you used for definitely. The color is the good old orange and blue, which is absolutely one of nature's best and most populated comp color combination, complementary color combination. I like that the sky is exactly the opposite of the foreground. The blue sky on top, the blue foreground on the bottom. The orange sky at the bottom, opposed to the orange sky on top in the foreground. I like that kind of reflection kind of thing. Very, very nice. The processing is excellent. One of the things that I'm going to suggest later is um, lens compensation, it's called sometimes, or lens correction, it's called sometimes. Um, it's a little tiny bit distorted, like a little bit curved because of the probably you used a wider angle lens, but that's really the only suggestion that I'll make later. Maybe something with the moon too. Intangibles. It's cold and it's harsh, and your heavy use of cool colors of the blue makes it feel cold and harsh. The other thing that does that are all the sharp edges of the ice. That also leads to a cold, harsh climate. I like that the swirl, it kind of says motion, but there isn't any motion because this had to be a long shutter speed and there's no blurring, no nothing. So I like that idea that it's frozen in time, so to speak. As far as suggestions go, eliminate the slight distortion on the horizon. Maybe try desaturating the moon a little bit so it's not such an attention getter unless you like that, unless you want that. And like Rich just said, different people like different things about it. So when I make a suggestion or any judge, try it, see what you think. You've got the final decision. So suggestion wise, a little distortion to get rid of using lens correction or whatever your software calls it, and maybe desaturate the moon a bit, and that's it. Other than that, these were 9 really great images tonight. You make me sound super picky. Who did this one?
That would be me, Mike, and I really appreciate your remarks. I was very fortunate to get this picture earlier in the day. I'd gone down to the river because whenever there's ice, I like to go down to the river and look for this kind of thing. And I knew that night the moon would be rising. And I found this spot that I shot in the daytime. And then I went to it later during the moonrise, and I was just amazed by it. Looked like somebody took a whole bunch of plate glass and just smashed it on the floor.
You're right.
and and you're right, it was a long exposure, but nothing moved.
Very cool. And very cold, too.
Oh my.
You need a gold star just for going out there. Sunrise over Aquia, I hope. Landing sunrise. Technically, again, another long shutter speed, it looks like. There's a little bit of movement in the water, and of course the clouds as well. Nice detail in the rocks. It's a kind of a popular thing to have something swirling and moving, and then in the same image, something not moving at all. So that's very cool. Again, the long exposure also brought some of the detail in the rock out too. So that was nice. The focus is good. It looks kind of dreamy, but when you look at I think it might be a fishing platform over on the left. When you look at that, it looks sharp and clean. Composition wise, again, layers are the ticket when it comes to creating depth in a color photograph. You can see a layer of dark violet, and then a layer of orange yellow, and then the strip of dark violet, and then the layer of orange yellow, and then the strip of the. So that creates a tremendous depth. And you can see, I've said many times that cool colors seem to fall away and warm colors seem to advance. And it's totally obvious. This is a flat screen I'm looking at, but that horizon is way far back compared to the rocks here in the front with the little orange tinge on them. Definitely. So good composition work there. The horizon line is just a touch above center, which makes this actually a photograph about the water with a background of sky. Depending on what you want, you can drop or raise the horizon line to add weight to either above or below the horizon line. The diagonals in the front, the white, the lighter colors may denote movement. You know, diagonal lines denote movement and activity. And you can see they're kind of, I guess you'd say, reflections of the white marks in the sky above. They echo those. It actually is, let's see. Oh, I like the triangle here. Triangular use of triangles in your composition is always a good idea if you can make it happen. Color-wise, warm versus cool. You have a couple combinations here. You have a violet and yellow complementary scheme. You have the orange and the blue complementary scheme. So you have two of those working for you. And again, lighter values advance, darker values recede. And when I say values, I'm talking about, I guess another way to say it is brightness. So the brighter, the closer it looks, the darker, the farther back it looks. Excellent processing. I'm probably wrong about this, but it looks like there's a teeny slight glow on it, but probably that could also be because of the long exposure time. A glow is appropriate here, and these images tonight are clean. You're not going to hear me say, well, there's a big hair laying on there or something like that. They look great. And what I try to do is imagine them as a print. Intangibles, calm and peaceful. After I'm imagining that as a fishing platform, and after a hard day's work, things have finally calmed down and they wind down and night is coming. Beautiful use of colors there. Again, I want you to check your horizon for straightness. Sometimes I stare at these horizons when I'm judging so much that they're perfectly straight, but they don't look straight. So just check it and make sure. Um, one thing, another suggestion I have is I would darken these, especially these two, because as I said, the lightest value advances. And suddenly these create a lot of contrast because the human eye is drawn to contrast. So I would darken these down a bit. Let's see. This tower right here. I'm not sure if that adds to your idea or not. I'll let you decide that. Try it with it out and try it with it in and see what you think. Same here. Darken these and see what you think. Otherwise, it's beautiful, it's calm. Um, it can certainly go on a wall, that's for sure. And again, I try to imagine them as a print, which makes everything set in stone. So try that. Try removing that. Please darken these and see what you think. Okay, who did this one?
Hey, Mike, it's Chris. Um,
That's
yeah,
awesome, Chris.
thank you for all the notes on this one. I'll be fair and say that this was not a long exposure. It was a single shot image,
Is it a
and
glow?
there is a glow, but
Okay.
I used a lot of motion blur, and then
Oh,
masked it
nice.
in. So I was experimenting because I was actually going to delete the image, and I said, let me try and figure out if I could restore this image in some way. The colors are extremely exaggerated from what it was that morning, and
Mm-hmm.
I just said I'm going to go, all in on making this something. So yeah, it was a very cold morning that day at Akia Landing.
Thank you.
But yeah,
Okay. Did I mention a glow? I think I put that in my notes.
you did
You
mention the
did.
glow,
Okay,
and
to ask you if it was a glow or a long exposure. That's
there's a glow.
totally perfect use for sure. Okay, image 4 is I remember summer. Um, technically, couple things to mention. It's a tiny bit soft here in your corners. So keep an eye out for that. Um, the snow is white, which says that you exposed it absolutely properly. It's if you snow's funky. It's kind of like sand. What you have to do to make it white is overexpose it. Otherwise, it looks kind of blue or gray. So good job there. In here, clean and sharp. Very, very nice. And there are gobs of detail. So this really should be sharp, and it is. Composition wise, um, you have things in, and again, this sounds cliche, but it does work for some reason. You're in odd numbers here with the 3 and the 1. So it frames actually, these kind of frame the shot and draws our attention here, and all of a sudden, pow, this jumps right out at you. So composition wise, the boat is kind of a disruption which brings our attention, and that's what you want. Also, color wise, let me see. I had another. Oh, yeah. Sorry, I had another note here about um, using vertical lines, which denote usually strength and power, and which is what these trees have. And all of a sudden, here's a diagonal. Generally, they promote activity or action. So this is nice how it disrupts everything in the picture and as a result makes you look at it. Okay, color wise, you have the warm colors on the tree bark, almost a dark orange, as opposed to the green on the boat. So there's a good contrast in color work, actually. Um, The green on the boat, if I want to read into it, throws me back to summer. And I remember summer, the green in the boat goes back to the greens of summer. So it's just waiting and waiting and waiting, just like I am. Processing I mentioned was good. The snow is white. Let's see. I haven't mentioned here. Oh, it's a clean image. The crop here, I don't know if there's any more space out here or not, but if there is, and you can get a little more balance out of it, give that a shot and see what you think. And also, intangible wise, it tells a story of, in a way, loneliness and a little bit of sadness, really. Even the boat feels a little forlorn. So I remember summer is a good title. Okay, suggestions, maybe a bit more contrast. That'll give it a little more pop. And again, I asked to try a little bit of a wider crop and maybe even a really slight vignette to help with this slight blur here. I'm guessing it was like I don't know, maybe a wider shot or um, maybe even a phone shot. I don't really know. I'm going to have to ask that. So more contrast, maybe, maybe a mild vignette, just a bit more snap, especially to make this pop just a touch. But I like the image. It's a little bit like a Jackson Pollock painting with a boat in it, which is very cool. And again, this is another image that tells a story. So, we're doing great with that tonight. Who did this? Not here, or owe me $5 for not unmuting. Okay.
Hey, Mike, that was
Oop.
Robert Bill. I don't see him on.
Okay, thank you. Black and white number 3. Technical wise, the main subject, which is this headlight, is crisp. It's hard to see on the screen, but there is minimal detail in the black. So it's not just a total blackout. Here you can see a little bit of it. Down here you can see a little bit of it. It'll show up better in a print, I'm sure. So there is some detail there. There's a couple little burnouts or there's some whiteouts that I want to mention later and see what we can do about that. The headlight itself is exposed absolutely beautifully. And this is a difficult exposure. When you're dealing with the dark darks and the white highlights, it's difficult because the camera sensor will have a hard time getting the dynamic range unless you do a high dynamic range. And if you're shooting handheld, that's very difficult to do. So it's a difficult shot that you tackled. This looks beautiful for sure. Composition wise, the main subject is just the tiniest bit off center, creating some interest. The curved lines create a frame for the headlight. I'm talking about this one and this one, which frames it in beautifully. And again, you can see how this recedes and this advances. Even this recedes and this advances. So that's how to create depth in a black and white photograph. Repeated shapes in the headlight is a good, strong compositional tool. As far as tone goes, I already mentioned that lighter values advance, dark recedes. The headlight has many values, many shades of gray. So that creates that image. The top right is too light of a value. We're going to mention a couple things to try with that. The processing in the light is fabulous. And you did good to gather detail here and here. There's also a little bit here and here that I had to look close, but it's there and it will appear better like on a print. Or you can open the shadows just a touch if you want with the shadow slider or the curves adjustment. Either one will work fine. Again, the processing in the light is beautiful. Intangibles. It's abstract enough that some of us who were not, I think this is either at the Hershey Antique Auto Show, I think, or the Antique Auto Museum, or maybe the Rolls-Royce Museum, one or the other. But I like that it's an abstract, and if you weren't there, you may have no idea what it is, and that creates interest. Abstracts, abstracts a lot of times create questions like, "What the heck is that?" Or or statements like, "Oh, my kid's in kindergarten and they could have done that." Well, this is an abstract, but it also hangs on to a little bit of real life. So it does enough to create interest, but yet you know it's not too funky to understand. Suggestions. Slightly pull up on the shadows. I mentioned that. There's two ways that I've mentioned, the shadow slider or the curves adjustment. I would do some cloning here. I would move these out of the way or get rid of this. This isn't too bad because the value is less than this. So this falls away. This jumps to you. Also, get rid of this and this. Now, this, that's going to be a problem that you can tackle in a couple ways. Number one, with a vignette. Number two, with the clone stamp. If you can gather enough of this or even enough of this, there's nothing here that helps you. So you can get rid of it completely if you want to. Because your image here and here and here is really nice. So get rid of these because they are jumping out to you. Do some work on these, and I think it will help your image because there's some real potential here. So go for it. Who did this?
Hey, Mike, Dave Marchetto, thanks so much for those comments.
You're welcome. Do they make sense?
Yeah, and you know, I will say only you would be able to see the fine detail to the left of that light. Yeah,
It's there.
it is, and you're right, it's to the right, but I'm just sort of amazed that you could see that because I mean, I know it's there and I don't see it.
It
And
is.
you're a master of spots. So I spent the longest time, I got to tell you this. I spent the longest time. There may be a spot sooner or later, but I have to I say I spent like 5 times as much time, you know, tracking down spots as I might otherwise.
The blacks look velvety and beautiful, so you did well.
Thanks so much. You know, the only thing I'll say right now that I really, you know, wrestled with, it's quite nice in color, and
Oh,
there's a kind of a golden hue around what you would think is chrome. It's not so much chrome as gold.
oh,
So
nice.
yeah, it's very pretty, but you know, there's some greens in there, and you know, it just got a little bit too funky with the range of colors where I didn't kind of want color. So
Yeah.
that's where I decided to go with the you know, with the black and white.
Well, if you love the color, try desaturating it a little bit so they're not quite so strong.
That's a great idea. Yeah, I can try that too.
Give that a shot. See what you think.
The one thing I noticed, and this will be the last thing, you know, sometimes when I take an image, I don't see something, and you know, when I process it, I do. To there's lettering to the right of the lens, like at 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's lettering. You can actually read it, and I had no idea that the lens would pick that up. It's just a
There's
kind of a
lettering on the glass actually
yeah,
too.
it is on the glass. Yeah, yeah. It's just kind of a surprise. Sometimes these things happen and you just don't expect it.
It's nice when the surprise is something pleasant because I've taken what I thought were excellent landscapes and found a trash can.
Yeah. Or somebody's eyes are closed, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Thanks again, Mike.
You're welcome. Okay, image 6 is once in a blue moon. Technically, I don't really know quite what to say because focus means nothing in an image like this. Um, the exposure I can't really discuss, so I am going to discuss composition. The use of your diagonal lines. I mentioned before, diagonal lines denote motion. So you can see that these trees are blowing, and it's because they're on a diagonal line. So when you want to use action or activity, look for diagonals. The moon is well placed, just the tiniest bit off center. And the leading lines go from bottom left to top right, which also helps the eye move. So not only does it look like the trees are kind of blowing, your eye will also be tending to move from bottom left to top right. Because in Western civilization, we read from left to right. The color, the cool colors, which is all that are in here almost. There's very, very, very small bits of like a yellow, a light yellow, a cream color that you can see in some of the branches. But generally it's made up of cool colors all the way, of a cyan or a mossy green, which the colors in this case create a mood. They create melancholy, or they create fear, or they create creepiness, not joy. Now, you'll also might notice the values here are lighter than they are here. So that adds, pardon me, a little bit of roundness to the moon because these come forward just enough to make it so it's not like just a flat round thing stuck against the wall. And that's one thing we're trying to do is create depth that looks three-dimensional, but we only deal with 2 dimensions. So nice job there with the color work. The processing, we had a discussion, I don't know, 2 weeks ago or whenever it was about using textures and overlays. This is completely appropriate. It compounds the creepiness factor in the shot. It could even be a preset, like there's painting presets or painting textures. I'd be anxious to find out exactly what the texture is. Um, Intangibles, it's creepy, it's cold, it's scary. Who did this? I don't have any suggestions for this. I think he nailed it.
That would be me, Mike, Elaine. Um, this is actually a photo that I took, I think in 2014. It's quite old. Um, Took it out of my kitchen window, so it's taken through glass, and the light. Apparently, I'm not remembering exactly. I do remember that I had the lights out in the kitchen as I was taking it. But I think the light that you see on the trees is light that's coming from inside of the house in another room.
Oh, okay.
Otherwise, I would not have been able to get this shot. Um, when I originally processed it, I processed it in Photoshop and used a texture layer then. And actually did print it and had brought this to a print review to for the Harrisburg Camera Club. In fact, I think you may have been one of the judges. Um, but I was never really happy with it. What I was really going for was the creep factor.
Mm-hmm.
And truthfully, when I look out into the woods at night, it is creepy out there. It's exactly keeps the trick-or-treaters away every year.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the woods give me a sense of protection of sorts, which is a little bit ironic. But as I said, I was not happy with the original processing. So after we had that discussion about layers, texture layers, a few weeks ago, I went back. Took me a while to find it, but I went back and reprocessed it. I took the edited file that I had originally printed, not the original unedited one, but the one
Mhm.
that I was not happy with, and took it into another program. It was Topaz Studio 2, and added three more different texture layers that I blended all together. And one of them was it was not a texture layer, it was actually a preset that kind of distorted those branches that gave it that really creepy look. These branches were not moving. It was that look or that preset that gave it that look. But there were two other texture layers I added to it. So it was a combination of all of those that gave it that effect. I
It's
also
awesome. And now that you mentioned the light coming from another room, you can see that it's much stronger here than it is here. The light on the branches. Very cool.
thank you.
Image 7 is sunrise on the Ikanlakachi, and I should be close because I practiced it. Ikanlakachi, and whoever did this can correct me. Technically, the focus is absolutely pin sharp. Very, very good exposure. Lots of detail in every area, really, and nice saturated, clean colors. Worth getting up in the morning for sure. I like that the composition has the horizon line just slightly above center. That gives enough weight to the water to bring you to the reflections. Um, let's see, I said that this creates a strong base for the whole image, and you can see it's dark and gets lighter and lighter and lighter, hits here, light and then darker, darker, darker. So it actually is pretty much a mirror image, even composition wise. I like that there's a triangle here. Again, it's triangular compositions are pleasing to the eye. They show some strength. I said beautiful use of layers. And again, we have the orange and blue complementary color scheme. Very, very prevalent in nature. Very prevalent. We also have a touch of the yellow and the violet compositional color schemes. So good work there with your color. And as you know, the cooler colors like the blue, many of them denote peace and calmness. The orange, the warmer colors, are more active. So the story I got from this was that we're at the very beginning of the day. The warmth is starting to arrive. The orangey colors denote some activity. This denotes the calm of the night that's starting to fade away into the warmer colors and so on. Now, you might think that that's kind of artsy fartsy, as people say, but that's what I'm seeing. Whether you saw it or not, once you put this up for other people to see, it's out of your hands. And every viewer will probably see something just a tiny bit different. But I love the calmness, the beginning of the day, your composition. The processing is tremendous. It's crisp, it's saturated. And again, the intangibles. It's peaceful, but yet there's some anticipation there. The story is about to unfold as the day goes on. So good work there. Now, I want you to try something. This might make zero sense, but when you're working on this, See what you think about cropping those out, and it'll be a whole totally different image. I mean, this is beautiful, don't get me wrong, and it's a good framing device. But I'd also be curious as to doing something like that. It's just an idea, it's not a criticism, because, like I said, these are beautiful for framing. One suggestion I do have is way in the background here. There's a little post, a pole, like maybe a cell phone tower or a radio tower, and that's reflected also. Um, I would remove that because it's the only man-made thing in the entire shot that I can see. So that's really my big suggestion is to take out the radio tower. Everything else is beautiful. Who did this?
Hi, Mike. It's Joan Smith.
Well, it's awesome.
Thank you very, very much. I'm not good at sunrises, and I don't feel like I'm good at sunsets either. So to hear these wonderful comments really makes me feel good. And you got the name just right. You got
Oh,
it
good.
way better than I do. I have to like break it down into pieces to say it. So
Actually, I looked it up so I could say it correctly.
I have to ask one question. That you're saying to crop the like the triangle off the edge on the right. Take
Just
it
see
off
what
of
it
the
looks
left
like. I'm
too?
not, it's
Okay,
not a criticism. Just give it a
right,
shot and
right,
see what you think.
right. And I did that for framing, but
Yeah, yeah.
great.
Yeah,
Thank
it's
you.
very nice.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Did you see this thing here?
I did not see that at
Uh,
all. And I still don't see it, but I'll, I
it's there.
honestly,
That's
I,
why people cuss me after the meetings are over.
you know what? I hope there's no dust spots in there because I did go over that. I
No,
probably.
these tonight's are clean as can be
Gee,
because
I wonder why, Mike.
yeah, well, when you make a print, that spot is there forever unless you get the old, like I still have my old spotting dies that you lick your tongue on the little brush and all that kind
Oh
of stuff.
gosh.
Oh yeah.
Thank
Okay,
you.
Amish buggy shopping. Uh, the exposure's good. The buggy itself is sharp. The reflections are even exposed well. Now, composition wise, um, this composition is built on rectangles. And you can see the obvious rectangle here, two here, there's one here. Even what you have left in the sky is a rectangle. Here's a long, skinny one. So it's a good, excuse me, a good composition that you built on rectangles with just enough to throw the rectangles off. So good work there. Very nice. Very nice composition. Um, the main subject, which is the kid or his hat and his scarf, are in the little bit to the left 1/3 line, which is a good compositional tool. It does work. Color wise, the red scarf is just perfect, absolutely perfect. And I know I said, and Mary Fox takes this to heart, you can even take something red with you. Now, I would not tell an Amishman here put this red scarf on, but it's pretty cool that it's there. And it might not even be a scarf, it might be a reflection of something else. Now that I look at it, it might be the corner of a shed or something, but it looks in place. It looks like it belongs. So that's a nice little pop around all that black. The hat and the face are a warmer color, which are absolutely perfect. And I also love this warm area down here. So really nice. Intangibles. Oh, I'm sorry, the processing. The processing makes the subject stand out. Um, I would, in my suggestions, I'm going to mention something about the sky here. And this thing, which I'm not sure exactly what to do about that, but I'll have a couple suggestions anyway. Intangibles. I looked at this and finally I started to smile. Now, don't panic about the white spots because I know they're on the buggy. But it's so perfect that here's this and here are the legs. It's just perfect. It reminds me of something we used to do when we were a kid. We'd have, I guess, three cards or three rollers. One was a head, one was a body, and one was the legs. And you could change them all around. This is absolutely the moment that you had to get the shot, and you did it. You might not have even seen the reflection of the legs and the feet, but it's perfect. So nice work there. As far as suggestions go, there's a couple wires running across the top, which when you print it may look like scratches even. So I'd suggest you remove those. I would also darken the crowd that you can see through the window. And if you remember, I said that lighter values jump forward. Well, you can see now that I was rude enough to bring it to your attention, you can see how it jumps out. So I would definitely darken this. Also, there's a spot right there. I know it's not a dust spot. I understand that, but I would still remove it because again, it's just going to attract attention. And the attention really is here and here. Let's see. This hot spot on the window, which unfortunately it's a reflection, but unfortunately it's covering up some of the lettering, which makes it much more difficult to deal with. Now, I tried a couple things, and the one of the best things I could come up with was a clone, use a clone stamp at about 25% and just lower this very slightly. And in that case, the lettering still will show through, but it won't be as good. But it will show through if you clone just slightly to take the brightness off of there. Now, I would lighten this and darken this so that you're balancing the light that's in the image so that this isn't way, way, way brighter than this. So, boy, your timing was just so good. So try those suggestions and see if it helps you with the image. Who did this?
Like I did this, Mary Eileen.
That is so cool. Did you know that?
What first attracted me to the subject was the sign. I mean, you have this kind of beat up Amish buggy in it, but whoever's selling it wants you to know that the brakes are in good and the lights are in good condition. So it's functional, I guess. So that attracted my attention, and then all of a sudden I saw the kids start to come through, and I liked his reflection in the window. So I decided to take the shot right then and there because of the as he's entering that window there. It wasn't until I got back home and started to process it that I realized that I got his legs and they're askew, they're off kilter with his body in the window. But then I liked that. I thought that was really rather, I don't know, funky, whimsical, whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like I was attracted to the buggy because of the sign, but I took the shot because I was able to capture him in the reflection in the window. And I like you. I'm glad to hear you have a suggestion for that sign, because this although the sign is what attracted me to the buggy to begin with, I didn't like that hot spot, and I wasn't sure how to do it without ruining the writing, because it is a rather humorous little sign on the buggy.
I thought it looks like a font.
Yeah,
like a computer font. I mean, it looks like Comic Sans or something. It's so
yeah,
funny.
yeah. But yes, thank you for the suggestions. I shall implement them.
Give it a shot and see. Hopefully it'll work.
Yes, thank you.
Sure. Okay, number 9 is standing guard over the valley. Technically, the focus is good. Rich colors. There's no blackouts, no burnouts. It's pretty consistent light all the way through, but you can see some of the values now pull things forward and the others drop things back. Composition wise, I like that there's 1 and then 2 and then 3, which goes right to the main subject. So you go lower left to top right, and you end up where this gentleman or lady thinks you should because they're photographing this hoodoo right here. Um, Again, I mentioned before that vertical lines denote strength, and that's pretty obvious here. Let's see. There's a leading line that runs through. Again, you follow lower left, a little bit of toward top right, and out of the image. There's a nice little dark area here that just falls away and takes you right out. So good work there. The use of color is really quite good. Again, I mentioned the lighter values and darker values. Warm color. And you can actually kind of feel the heat by looking at this bright orange color. There's a tiny bit of cool colors scattered around, which provide a nice little contrast. And it makes the orange look even orangier, if that's a word. Again, good processing, nice rich colors. Intangibles. I saw when I looked at this, I saw man against nature. I'm going to guess this is in Bryce Canyon with the hoodoos and the light down here and man against nature in that we're pretty teensy weensy when it's compared to some of the things that are out in nature. This should give us a sense of awe, a sense of wonder, a sense of grandeur, and the fact that you put somebody there to provide scale, well, he put himself there to provide scale makes it look even more powerful and even stronger. So that was a good idea. My tendency, I'm getting better at it, but my tendency is to wait till everybody leaves the shot and then quick take it. So when I'm traveling with people and I'm standing and standing and standing there, they know what's going on. I'm waiting. Sometimes it takes a long time, but I'm getting better now at including people, and this is perfect. The inclusion of this photographer gives scale. It shows that somebody else thinks this is important. It's a good story. Again, tonight's photographs had told stories, which is really very cool. Okay, any suggestions I might have? Like I said, some of these I feel kind of ridiculous, but I think they'll help. I would, I'm a bit of a stickler for looking around the edges. So I'd either darken this or remove it so you don't have half of something sticking in something small. And I would also pull this in the tiniest bit to remove these two little slices or just clone them out or whatever. And like I said, I hate to be so picky, but once I point them out, you can't ignore them. And when you make a print, you can easily cut the mat to make those disappear. That's not a problem. But that's one thing that I would do. Really cool. Maybe even now I was going to say maybe lighten him up a bit, but it's the contrast that makes him noticeable. So good work. All these tonight were really good work. Okay, who was standing guard over the valley? Him or him? Who did this one?
Hello, Mike. Can you hear me?
I can, thank you.
Okay. It's Marlene McNamara. I went to Bryce Canyon. I fell in love with it. It's so beautiful there.
Did you go down in?
Yeah.
Ah, awesome. Any questions about that's the end of the images. Are there any questions?
Hey, Mike, can you go back
Yes.
to can you go back to number 4? You made a comment. This is Mark Albano, by the way. You made a comment about it being slightly out of focus along the edges, top and bottom. Um, when would that be appropriate to have it soft?
Actually, sometimes it's appropriate when it's the first step into the image. The thing that made me notice it more is that this is sharp
Okay.
and these aren't. If all of it was a little bit soft, it would be more of like a vignette.
Okay.
Does that make sense or
Yeah,
no?
that makes sense because it's like when people talk about having it sharp all the way in and from the very, it's like in the old film days you couldn't do that.
Correct. Yeah, that's very true. And in fact, with some lenses, if I would buy some, the more inexpensive lenses have that problem sort of built in.
Yep.
But
Yep.
that's what brought it to me was the fact that this is clean, but these
Okay.
are a little soft.
Okay, I couldn't quite see that. Can you go back to Marlene's print image?
Was that the last one?
Yeah. Funny story. I was just recently reading an article about with a guy talking about going to Bryce Canyon, bunch of photographers along the top shooting down, and a woman climbed in like in this picture, and everybody screamed at her.
Yes. At one time, that would have been me. But now I'm mature. I know better.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that.
Anything else?
Mike, this is Joan Smith. Would you mind going back to mine? I have printed this.
What number was yours?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
That one, this one.
Right
7.
here?
Yes.
Okay.
I still cannot find that whatever it is that you said was there.
It's a little radio tower. It's like a thin line right here.
Okay.
And there's
Yeah,
a
I see it
reflection
too.
of it. What's that?
I see it too.
Sorry
Okay.
to be such a nerd about it, but when you
No,
print it, if
that's
you print
okay.
it in a big size, it's going to show.
I did print this, and I actually got the print out and looked to see if it was there, and I couldn't see it in the print. So
Okay,
it's
then it's
me.
not there.
Well, I don't know. Maybe it's me. I'll have to look, because I took this right out of the same, it's the same file that I printed. So,
Yeah, yeah.
okay,
Well,
I'll
when
keep
I was
looking.
taking classes at Hack, they said if you can't see it from a foot away, it's not there.
It's reflected in the water too.
Yes, it
Yeah,
is.
that's what you're saying, and for the life of me, I can't see it, but I believe that it's there, and I may get this reprinted because, excuse me, I'm getting over a cold. I did not allow in the printing enough light or exposure on it,
Yeah,
and
yep,
it printed a little bit too dark for me.
yep, I understand that.
Yeah. So, I actually have 3 of them from the river that morning that I printed, and all 3 of them are too dark.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Good lesson.
Anything else?
And Mike, on the last one, I like the 3 trees at the bottom. It kind of makes another triangle.
Ah, yeah. Hey, you can do my job next time.
Nobody
you're
can
right.
replace you.
And it's funny that we don't see it, but it happens. Eventually, it's like muscle memory. It happens. Anyone else?
Hey, one question on that photo is, does the top spire, the biggest spire to the right, does that require slightly more headroom than what's there?
Um, if there's anything that would be done, that would not be a bad idea. Because what happens is your eye is going to go up here and then you're whoa. So yeah, it wouldn't hurt because and then you could sort of balance with this distance here. It's funny what makes the eye feel comfortable or uncomfortable. So yeah, that's a good suggestion. Anyone else? Well, thanks for all your questions. That's nice. And I hope the review made sense.
The review was excellent, Mike. Thank you.
Oh, good. Oh, you're welcome.
Mike,
Really helpful as usual, Mike.
and
Yeah,
Mike,
Hey,
thanks,
Joe,
Mike.
back to you.
we appreciate all the time and effort you put into this to research them and then to study them and come up with the suggestions, which we all look forward to. It was very, very well done tonight. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you. And then
Thank
find
you.
that little line that even the photographer didn't see.
You know what I'll be doing as soon as I get out of this meeting, right?
I'm sorry.
Ah!
Well, thank you, Mike, and everybody. We will see you in 2 weeks on a Monday evening. So thank you much.
Great. Thanks, Mike.
Okay.
Okay. No, you're
Thank you,
welcome.
Mike.
Thanks.
Thanks
Thank
again,
you.
everyone.
Thanks again, Mike.
Of course, you're welcome.
Mike, you staying on there for a second?
There we go. Yep.
Boy, those were really good images
I
tonight.
know.
Wow.
You
That
feel
makes
like
you-
a jerk picking out some little tiny thing, but I mean, you want to say something about everybody's. So yeah, they were very good. But let's think about um like a special meeting sometime for people who have never submitted or would like to submit one just to hear something about it or whatever. You know, like a beginner's night or scaredy pants night or something. But
Yeah,
yeah, I'd be happy to do that.
that'd be a good idea. That'd be a good one. Chip, I just heard from Dennis, and he got a couple good pictures today. He sent off. Okay,
good.
and it was nice weather. He's doing about 2 miles a day on that treadmill on when the ship is at sea. So that's really nice.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he likes to get up early and be active, and
Yeah.
he's been posting a good bit on Facebook.
Okay. Yeah.
No midnight buffets for him, huh?
No, I think the midnight buffets are a thing of the past now.
Yeah, you're right.
You
You're
used to
right.
be full all the time, just
I know.
bloated.
And Rick, thank you for doing your efforts on the getting those images ready. That's that's very helpful.
Oh, you're
I'll
always
say.
welcome.
Very nice. Okay. That's it. Going to stop the recording.